students, welcome to class. I'm so happy you're here. By the way, happy Vegan Declaration Day to all of you who have got your 100 clicks. You got it in your head, you got it in your heart, and you are ready to start to be vegan from now on. This is awesome. For those of you who are still trying to figure it out, let's have a look at the lesson of the day. Today we will learn a form of racism called the bigotry of low expectations as it applies to veganism. Now, I was going to make my own lesson here, but then I realized there's an amazing TikTok. It's only 3 minutes long by Carnism Debunked, otherwise known as George Martin. So let's have a look at his TikTok, and you guys tell me what you think. I think it's a really great explanation.
Are you aware of a form of racism called the bigotry of low expectations? The bigotry of low expectations, I suppose, could be described as a patronising form of discrimination, whereby someone thinks that a certain group, usually a racial group, should not be expected to do something because they might not be capable of doing that. Whereas another group, let's say in this example, white people, could and should do that because, hey, they're white. With the idea that white people in this example are capable of doing this, unlike the other groups. One notable example of the bigotry of low expectations is in America, where it was shown that white liberals thought that having people show their ID or go to a polling station in order to vote in the elections was racist because, say, black people might not have ID and...
What? Why would black people not have ID? They're just as intelligent as we are. They're the same.
And they might not know where the polling station is. Whereas white people, of course, would all have ID and all know where the polling station is.
That's racist to talk that way. That's not right.
This was quite hilariously brought to light when interviewer Amy Horowitz took to the streets of New York to ask black people if they had ID and if they knew where the voting station was, as they all looked on in bemusement and offence when they heard that white liberals assumed that it would be the case they wouldn't have ID and wouldn't know where it was. They all did have ID, by the way, and they all could point out where the polling station was.
Of course.
And the bigotry of low expectations is becoming all too popular again once more when people tell vegans that they're racist because they ask people from other ethnic groups to go vegan, with the
That doesn't make them racist.
idea that black people and indigenous people, for example, shouldn't be expected to give up their traditions, and this is a very important thing to them. Animal foods are a key part of every single country's culture on this planet.
True.
As a British person, for example, a key part of my culture is fish and chips, Cornish pasty, Sunday roast, haggis, Welsh rarebit. Name but a few animal foods that are a huge part of our tradition and culture here. So when you say that it's wrong to tell BIPOC to go vegan, but not white people, based on the idea of giving up traditions and traditional foods, despite every white majority country on this earth having a culture that revolves around animal foods, you are enacting the very racist bigotry of low expectations. In other words, white people can move past exploiting animals for foods and other key parts of their culture, but black and brown people just can't. They shouldn't be expected to progress.
Crazy.
This ultimately paints people who aren't white as anti-progressive because it says that basically they can't give up violence to animals while white people can. If me, the white British guy, can stop eating fish and chips, then other racial groups can stop harming animals for their cultural foods as well.
Very good presentation. Excellent. Very well said. Carnism Debunked, otherwise known as George Martin, has a site that is called Carnism Debunked. Do you see it on screen there? The word carnism with an underscore and then debunked. So I just pulled it up here. Because I want to show you what it looks like. This is what it looks like. And what's great about his site is it has all of the different arguments that people have when they say, oh, I can't be vegan because of this or because of that. Look at all of these arguments. He writes them all down and he gives answers to every single one. He has, at the moment, 47 different objections that people have. 47 reasons that they say, I can't go vegan because of this or because of that or whatever. Let's look at a few of them, all right? We're not going to look in detail at the answers because you can read those on your own. But here's just an example. People say, animals eat other animals. So if somebody says that to you, animals eat other animals, therefore I should be allowed to eat pigs and chickens and cows, then you look here and here is your answer that you give Carnus. It's all written there and it's explained really well. Or sometimes people say, well, it's the food chain, so I just have to eat animals. No, you don't. Or, well, there's humane slaughter. We don't really hurt the animals, they'll try to say. But of course, we know there's no such thing as humane slaughter. How do you kill somebody who doesn't want to die? There's nothing humane about that. Or other people say, well, it's natural to eat animals, which is a little bit similar to the other one. But we're omnivores, we have canine teeth. And then, of course, he's going to point out that your canine teeth are pretty much non-existent. I mean, look at mine. There's nothing sticking out down there like my dog, for example, or a wolf or any other animals. It just doesn't make sense. Humans, for sure, can eat plants, and so they can choose this. Then you put some funny human teeth inside of a shark here. Okay. Humans have eaten meat for thousands of years. Our ancestors did it. So that's another excuse that people use. And, just because they've done that doesn't mean that we should continue to do what our ancestor did. Our ancestor did all kinds of crazy things. For example, ancestors had slaves, and slavery is wrong. Or our ancestors back in the day, the LGBTQ were not allowed to have the right to marry. And now, thankfully, more and more places are allowing LGBTQ to marry. So just because our ancestors did something doesn't mean that we should continue. Same for the right of women to vote. Women didn't used to be able to vote. How crazy is that? Now women can vote. And so, laws change and eventually the world will become vegan because people will wake up and realize it makes sense. It is the best thing for the animals, and it happens to also be good for the environment and human health. So it's a win-win-win situation. And then there's always somebody who's going, well, what about plants? And trying to pretend like plants have feelings, which is completely ludicrous because they don't have a nervous system or a brainstem. And this is well explained by George Martin here on his site called Carnism Debunked. Or somebody else might say, those animals are bred for that purpose. And that, of course, again, doesn't make sense. We don't create a being and then just for the purpose of murdering them. How does that make any sense? It's like creating a child ourselves and then saying, now we're gonna do terrible things to the child. It's not right. Or it's survival. Whereas even though there's a grocery store right next door where you can buy tofu, lentils, beans, chickpeas, potatoes, carrots, everything under the sun, tons and tons of different foods. But people will say, well, I have to eat that little chicken over there, otherwise I'm gonna not survive. It just makes no sense. It's the circle of life, and then all of this stuff, all of these arguments that we hear over and over as animal rights activists. So you see they go on and on. So have a look at them yourself. Be very curious. And this, if you don't know what this is Vegan Sidekick, who is also quite clever. Different cartoons that he makes. And you can see it goes on here at number 14 about intelligence, or animals don't understand the concept of right and wrong, which doesn't make sense because kids don't understand the concept of right and wrong either. And it doesn't mean that we're going to eat them or slit their throats or whatever. It goes on. I'm not going to get into it. I'm going to let you guys look at this yourself. You can see there are many, many things. I do like this diagram, though, here. I find this a very good one. Some people who say, well, I eat organic meat or free-range meat. And the reality is that for the cow, they end up in the slaughterhouse, regardless. Does that seem right to you? It doesn't seem right to me. So I think you get the idea. So thanks for being here today. Please don't forget to subscribe and press the notification bell to help me get these poor animals out of hell. Yeah. Do you see the notification bell down there after you subscribe? Do you see it? Press the bell. That way you can be here during premieres and you can type me some questions, anything you want. I'm usually there to chat with you guys and give you some encouragement. Thanks for being here again. Coming up on screen are going to be a bunch of other videos. Click on them. Be curious. Look around that Vegan Teacher site. There's always something that you might not have seen yet. There's over 1,000 videos, and you can make popcorn with vegan butter, of course, and you can watch some of the videos. Thanks a lot for being here. I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now. Love you guys.